Let's try a tier list that's a little bit different. Let's talk about the perk trees in Crusader Kings 3. I want to find out what I don't actually know about the game. And there are some perks I never really fully understood how they work, and it's going to be cool to just go through them, guys, with you now. I think I want to start with the weakest of the 4 paths. And I want to start with the intrigue path. The 3 paths for intrigue are schemer, seducer, torturer. So I am not going to be ranking these based on role-playing ability, okay? And that's probably going to trigger a few of you guys. And if you want to win the game, this is how you're going to do it, by looking at which are the most OP lifestyle perks. So first of all, let's look at Schema. So Schema's all about getting hooks and, for the most part, murdering. There's no doubt about it. Like murder scheme plus 30%, hostile scheme success plus 25%. This gives you the ability to do an extra hostile scheme, which is a lot of micro if you think about it, because 2 murder schemes is quite a lot of pop-ups and event spam, but you've got the ability to do it if you want to kill a lot of people. And you also end up with, finally at the bottom, Schemer, which gives more hostile scheme power and loads of intrigue. Intrigue will give you more scheme power. So this is giving you 25% plus more based on the extra 5 intrigue. Then you get your 30% for murdering as well. And this also, be prepared for anything's really interesting. It gives you a big defense against being murdered as well. I can understand in a multiplayer game why you might tech for this specific trait. So what you potentially do, you would manage the Royal Guards here, which increases the hostile scheme success chance. Oh, it's success chance. Oh, and it reduces it up to a maximum minus 40% if you sit on it. The old meta used to be to try and find secrets and combine that with golden obligations to try and rinse money off everyone. I don't know, for the most part, every time I try and find secrets, particularly, well, the worst time to do it is the start of the game because there is no secrets. The develop as the game progresses with more events. But at the very start of the game, there's like no options to do that. Maybe it's something I need to look into again. Maybe it's a way of making money. But as far as I know, they nerfed that one down to the ground. And this one is interesting. Abduct. So you have the ability to throw someone in prison, which is really strange that you can like go across half the world and throw someone in prison. Schema, for the most part, I feel like he's relevant, and it feels like situational based upon if you're playing a multiplayer game or if you are making a specific murder-based character. So based on being situational, based on being just murdering and nothing really much else, Schema is going to be a B tier for me. All right, next up we got Seducer. So it basically is boosting your fertility. Reduces the penalties for seduction schemes, so basically you are hot and no one can tell you otherwise. Removes the rank difference, so you basically seduce someone who's way higher rank than you. I really would like to see gaming mechanics of this, because I'll be fair with you, there are some like game mechanics in CK3 that you can be very creative with that I'm just not aware of, and I like to watch people play CK3 to find out there's extra ideas. Lovers are less likely to join murder schemes. This is not really that good, to be honest with you, because you can only specifically find lovers with people that have the same sexual preferences. So you can't really like target people with high intrigue and try and make them lovers unless they're sexually compatible. Seduce increases fertility and attraction. I suppose this is kind of a cool way of making babies with your wife, I guess, by using scheme seduce power. I don't really feel like what there is to gain with this, and there's potential to gain a lot of downsides from seduction schemes, like your wife hating you, you becoming an adulterer, lover's pox as well. There's like so many different downsides. I can't think of a single time this would be relevant. Is there an instance where you could like seduce an emperor, make a baby, and then somehow use that baby to press your claims? Is that even possible? I actually don't think it is. For the most part, guys, I'm going to put Seducer as a D tier, because at the moment, I can't really see what would work in an actual practical way of boosting your realm's actual projection power. All right, next up, we've got Torturer. Oh, man, this is really, really good. And there are some perks in here that are mad strong. So first of all, Dark Insight. So whenever you torture someone, you have a 50% chance of gaining 1 intrigue or 1 prowess. It's okay, I guess. It's nice to get some extra perks for free, I suppose. Up to a maximum +5 intrigue and +5 prowess. Listen, it's free perks. And you basically get them for free for torturing. And torturing is your thing because you're a torturer, so it's a thing. Dread game, it's always good to have lots of dread because it's a really weird, nice way of playing a diplomacy game where everyone just does what you say because they're terrified of you. Do not lose piety or clergy opinion from torturing or executing others. So basically, it makes torturing free. Thriving in chaos. Now, this is probably one of the weaker perks of this tree. Gaining extra stats from being stressed. So this is one of these weird niche scenarios where if you're playing with a paranoid character, which you gain stress for everything if you're paranoid, that you could max out your stress at level 3, potentially gaining you +12 martial, +12 intrigue, and +18 prowess. That's insane stats. But of course, you're going to be super high stress levels, so obviously you're going to have to deal with a lot of other issues as well that come entwined with that. Extra dread gain per tyranny. So basically, you can ignore tyranny because your dread's high. Awesome. This one is so strong too. Fear tax plus extra 50% or 30% extra tax, as well as 50% and 30% extra levies from intimidated or terrified. You're building dread anyway because that's your character anyway. This is mad strong. And it just gets even stronger. So basically, this one, Forever Infamous, means you are permanently dread. Your dread will never decrease. So you get 100 dread, you stay there forever. 100 dread forever. Mad strong. Imprison chance plus 50%. This is the intrigue path, guys. You already got a high chance to put people in prison. Plus 50% means you are guaranteed, in most cases, put anyone into prison who's within your realm and they cannot say no. This is mad strong. And finally, Torturer. Probably one of the weaker ones of the whole path. Plus 4 prowess. Extra dread plus 50%. You already max your dread anyway, so that's useless. Hostile scheme resistance 25%. That's kind of cool, I guess, if people are trying to murder you. And plus 10% extra levy size. The only strange thing about dread, I think, in CK3 is when you gain a lot of it, no one seems to care. I would have thought that if you get really high dread, that maybe more people would try and murder you because they're terrified of you, maybe. But it feels like there's no downside to dread. Torturer is no shadow of a doubt an S tier. It is so strong. At the end of the day, if you're ever going to get a faction problem as a torturer, you're just going to throw them in prison and there you go, your faction problem has been solved. So you fix factions, you fix your diplomacy because everyone hates you and is scared of you. What is the downside to this? I don't even know. Torturer is mad strong. All right, let's look at Marshal. So first we've got Strategist, Overseer, and Gallant. So Strategist is about you not fighting directly on the battlefield, but being a strategist, being like, oh, give an example, like Napoleon. Napoleon didn't directly fight in battles, but he was on the sidelines, calling the shots, forming the strategies. So this one lets you declare war minus 50%. This is actually a really good trait. If you're ever in a situation where you want to declare, let's say, a holy war for a kingdom, or a war for an entire kingdom, or an invasion, these Casus Bellis are very expensive, so going for this one early at the very top is nice and easy. So just hop onto it, grab it, and this is really good. This is a really good one. And a lot of these just give flat bonuses to your armies. Don't get me wrong, they're actually pretty strong, but overall, for the most part, there's loads of ways in the game to buff toughness and pursuit chance to your troops without having to go down a trait path. I suppose some of these ones at the top are pretty decent for like cavalry, because it's, once again, it's the top of the focus tree, so you can just pick it straight away and just get the trait. I think this one's pretty strong too, plus 15% extra speed. Having that extra speed advantage against the AI is mad strong because you can get to chase them. You don't have to do that ping-ponging around the country. This one's also pretty nice too. Extra siege weapon effectiveness plus 40%. 40% is a massive amount. Obviously, sieging stuff early and late game can be a problem, but sieging down quickly is a really good way of building war score. Living off the land, that's pretty useful if you are a Viking and you're raiding because it gives you more supply capacity. But once again, raiding's very micro-intensive. And if you get to the point where you get an extra 200% supply, you basically never get max supply. Hit and run is interesting. I mean, retreat losses minus 25%. When are you even retreating? You're a strategist. You're winning battles. Sappers is kind of cool too. It gives you lots of extra siege. There's some really good traits here, by the way. I feel like I ignore strategists most of the time, but I think the issue is that some of these traits, like Sappers, which is probably one of the most OP trait in the game to give you the ability to siege down really quickly, comes so far down the focus tree that I feel like, I mean, we're talking like 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3. We're about 4 years in before we can get Sappers. Maybe 5 years or 6 years, depending if you've got a martial education. So I don't know if it's even worth it. Anyway, and finally, Strategist, which gives you plus 1 diplomacy, plus 3 martial. Man, they're okay. Enemy fatal casualties for 25%. I mean, going into every battle and losing less casualties is mad strong, so I'm not disagree with that. And it removes the penalty of crossing straits and rivers. There is a trait in game that you can get that will also do the exact same. I think one of the big disappointing things with CK3 sometimes is that the actual trait that you gain at the bottom of the perk tree is usually not very good, and that seems to be like a reoccurring theme. Some of the most OP perks are actually in the focus trees, not at the very bottom. Strategist is a very valid path. The only issue I can see with Strategist is that there are some perk paths that might actually give you more bang for your buck. But for the most part, it is really, really strong. And some of the most OP ones are the ones that give you extra bonuses to siege equipment and sieging full stop. Okay, next up, we've got Overseer. So Overseer can be quite useful for gaining lots of free control. And it's another one of the ones control the realm style paths. So we're gaining dread, control. Gains your defender advantage. Actually useless, that one. Plus 1 fort level for entire nation. I suppose it's really good if you're holding down and you're trying to win a war of attrition. Also, enemy occupation do not lower your control. Interesting. Army maintenance minus 50%. That's mad strong. It's a really good one to go for really quickly, that if you want to make your overall army cheaper. But once again, quite a few traits in here, so it's not something you can just beeline to immediately. Increased control gains useful because it's the control path. Gains you extra dread. Siege progress against revolts plus 50%. You will never use that because, to be fair, you'll never have a revolt that will actually get a successful siege. This is an interesting one. They snuck this one in one of the latest expansions, one of the latest patches. It says faction military power threshold plus 20. So if you're in a situation where you've got quite a lot of factions that are trying to push their needs, if you were to grab this trait really quickly, it would push the threshold from 50% to 70%, which makes it sincerely less likely that factions will succeed. But be fair though, as much as this might be great, there are other ways of controlling factions, such as Torturer, that are more effective. So I'm a bit mixed on that one. Mercenary cost minus 30%. Once again, if you are playing a mercenary-based nation and you're just banking money, I suppose this is a really good one to get really quickly, to snag it before you hire a bunch of mercs. Because there is a strategy in CK3 where you bank lots and lots of money, and then you use merchants as your kind of leverage tool to get an army that just spawns automatically out of nowhere. It's not very good at controlling your nation, though, because that's what controls factions, your overall army size. Absolute control is a bit of a weird one. So you get 100% control and you get an option to get an additional perk of extra levies and extra taxes if you have absolute control. I've never played with it enough to know if it's any good. I've heard that people really like it though. And then finally you've got Overseer, which gains you extra martial stewardship and more control. It's like a path that gives control and then it gives more control. There are some actually really nice perks in here, but overall it's still, there's some other focus paths that have bigger bonuses. So overall I'm going to put this under B tier just because it's decent, but once again there are other paths that give juicier bonuses. Next up is Galleon. So Galleon is like the opposite of strategist. Instead of fighting from the back with strategies and tactics, you're fighting from the front. You're leading the charge. You're actually in battle. In this case, it gives you lots of prowess. Prowess lets you have more combat ability. Prowess also allows you to less likely die in battle. But to top it off, it gives you an extra bonus, which also reduces the risk of you commanding armies to not get injured in battles, as well as yourself as well. To reduce the risks of commanding armies may challenge rivals to single combat, inflicting stress if you win. Oh, that's new. I never knew that was a thing. So you can challenge rivals to combat. The biggest issue with challenging rivals to a game of something, they always say no if they haven't got much prowess. So it's like, I only fight people that are a similar skill level to me, but I don't get any easy wins. So I don't know. I'm mixing that one. This one gives 75% night effectiveness. Mad strong. This one gives you a +5 advantage in battle. Once again, leading from the front. Also, friendly casualties are reduced by 20%. So you could stick that 20% with that 25%. Oh, no, this increases the amount of casualties they take, and this reduces the amount of friendly casualties. Okay, so it does kind of both on both sides. That's interesting. This one's really good one to rush if you're like, for instance, start of the game and you're at war, like you're playing as William the Conqueror, and you want an extra +5 advantage in battle. Never Back Down is really good. Household Guards is 2 +4 knights. This used to be +7 knights, and they nerfed this. Oh, that really sucks because that was really strong. Now, this is an interesting path. Galleon also gives bonuses for leading from the front in battle, but it also gives bonuses for romance schemes. And romance schemes are kind of interesting because it's a way of getting lots of prestige really easily. I don't know what this one is. Enloping. Enloping is a way of gaining a lover to become married to you. I don't really know how you would use this in combat. How would you use this effectively? Maybe there's a way you can creatively take titles with this. I don't know. Please comment below, guys. Let me know if you've done anything fun with that, because I can't quite figure that one out. I suppose if you're playing as a count and you're trying to get like someone as a kingdom tile to marry you, I suppose that give you that advantage. But man, I'm not sure if you'd want to do that. I think one of the issues with these perks sometimes is I feel like there are a lot of other options available, so it's hard to tell which one to go for if some of them don't give a big bonus. Loyalty and respect, spouse +20 +50 opinion, and skills from spouse chancellor +25%. That's actually kind of cool in a way, because if you hire someone who's got like 25 stewardship, this will give you an extra bonus to your stewardship. Next one is Peacemaker, which is kind of an interesting way of ending wars really quickly. I suppose if you're snowballing and you're really winning, I suppose it makes wars end at 90% war score instead of 100%. And then finally, you've got Galleon, which gives a big bonus to prowess, martial, extra prestige, which is interesting, attraction opinion, and actual romance schemes. It's a weird combination of leading the battle from the front as well as bonuses to romancing. It's interesting, I guess. I'm so on the fence with this one. I feel like I want to go towards like a B+. I guess it's a B+. It's a B+. I think the issue with Galleon is just some of these focuses on the left path are just not very good. And Galleon itself is not really that great anyway. All right, diplomacy is next. Okay, thoughtful. Mad strong. This is so strong. If you're ever in a situation where you've got lots of money and you're dealing with a lot of characters creating factions, if you've got high diplomacy and you throw a gift at them, you can boost their relations by 200% with this one. This is mad strong and it needs to be nerfed. Dual contrast is just bad. Forced vassalization is just a really wonky way of conquering, but you can only conquer people that are significantly smaller than you unless there's technologies involved that can make it less. For instance, you can only conquer someone of a set size, but if you go for each one of these technologies, it increases the amount that you can vassalize by +2. And once again, they're becoming your vassals too. They're not converted to your religion. You're not gaining titles. It's just a really crappy way of conquering. I'm not a big fan of it. Max language is just useless. Foreign affairs, useless. I guess it's a way of gaining a little bit of prestige, I suppose. Shorter truces and no prestige fence for breaking them. Just so useless. Defensive negotiations, fellow vassal opinion, independent rulers, are so useless. I suppose the ability to get an alliance without a marriage is kind of useful, but marriages in CK3 are not very good because a lot of time you can't micromanage the armies that join you in alliances, so it seems pointless. Embassies gain language power. God, that's so bad. Fabricate claimant countries. So this is probably the one that's actually okay. So they have the ability to spend piety to get a claim on a duchy title. I feel like when I first started playing the game and I wanted an easy casus belli, I used to do this one quite frequently. It also unlocks a new ability to buy an artifact claim interaction. So I never really feel like you'd ever really want to do this. Maybe I need to play around with this to see how I'd go. But I've never seen an artifact that I feel like is good enough for me to want to steal. And final one is diplomat that gains extra 20% ruler opinion. Personal schemes are a pretty good one to boost, and +3 diplomacy. Diplomat has got some nice bonuses in it, but for the most part, no, I take it back. I retract everything I've said. The only one that's any good is thoughtful, and luckily you can get that one for free. It is unfortunately one of the lowest tier ones. I'm going to give that one a C tier. If you're ever in a situation where you've got good, decent diplomacy, like at least +10 diplomacy, hop onto your wife, tell her to increase your court politics to boost your diplomacy more, go for the first perk, and then whenever you get a faction, you can send a gift and you'll gain a boost of like +100 relations per gift. Anyway, next up, August. So, sway scheme +30%. That's really good because at the end of the day, you want to build relations and build bridges by improving relations. It's an easy way of doing it. Monthly prestige from Dread +1%. Extra prestige from powerful vassals on the council +5%. Oh, they nerfed that. That used to be a lot more than that, didn't it? Praetorian Guard +2% for monthly prestige per night. I feel like they've nerfed this. These numbers seem to be higher than I remember. Anyway, True Ruler is mad strong. So if you're ever in a situation where you have a big realm and you have a lot of vassals that are smaller and you don't want to conquer them all at once, you can go for True Ruler, boost relations, and just ask them to become your vassals, and they become vassals. Conquering land becomes so much easier. Writing history is interesting. So you have the ability to create artifacts based on books, and some of these books can be really strong because they can give you like 5 and 10% extra percentage growth of your career perks. So are particularly strong. Unfortunately, though, it's a bit of a gamble because sometimes you just don't really know what items you're going to get, and it is quite expensive to commission a book. So I'm a bit on the fence with it. It's kind of nice to have, but it's not overall, it's not amazing. Level of fame impact, it's okay. Diplomacy per level of fame +1 diplomacy. I suppose you're maxing diplomacy. That's what August is all about. It's building bridges inside of your realm. It's a way of controlling your realm, basically. And it also gives you extra +1 prestige, +1 martial, and +2 diplomacy. Obviously, August is really, 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 really good. The only issue with August sometimes is if you don't live very long, it feels like some massive waste because you don't get to gain that big bank of prestige. And here we go. The final path under diplomacy is family at hierarchy. Befriend is okay, I guess. You can also challenge people to a board game, something I've never done. Groom to rule is so bad. Ugh. +1, +3 skill points. But they're random. They're totally random. So you could be getting the ones for the wrong traits. So what's the point in gaining intrigue for a learning character? It's just pointless. Heart of the family +close family +15 relations. Oh, it's just not good. You've already got good relations with your close family anyway, so it just gives you 15 for nothing. Personal scheme chance success +25 against family members. So useless. When are you going to be personal schemes against your own family? Very rarely. Confidants, a way of reducing your stress for every friend you've got. Oh, God, building friendships is so slow in game though, so why would you never do that? I don't know. Befriend scheme gets 30% power. You need to unlock befriending, then you gain the ability to get friends more like... Oh, God, it's so bad. Each of your friend relations give you +2 random skill points up to a maximum of 5. Once again, you have no control of what points you get, so it just feels like it's a gamble. Sound Foundations gains plus each living child gives you 1 random skill point, maximum of 5. A maximum of 5, and you only get 5 points. Oh, this is so bad. Fertility +20%, 20% reduction of stress, close family opinion +15%. Family hierarchy is so bad. It needs buffing so badly. Anyway, stewardship. Next up, the one I never pronounce right. Avacurious, architect and administrator. So this one can be quite good because some of the bonuses are decent. And to be fair, the only one that's really that good is this one, extort subject's decision. And this will allow you to harvest so much money from your domain. Typically, be fair, This Is My Domain has always been mad strong. Golden, a plum is another way of like gaming the stress system, but 30% extra taxes isn't really worth it. Getting taxes at war is meh. Dread for reduction of men-at-arms maintenance is interesting. Some of these aren't very good. So these basically, if you've got republics inside of your nation. So I suppose if you're playing as Italy and you've got Venice and Venetia, this one gives you the ability to make more money as well at any cost. So this one actually kind of works like This Is My Domain. It's a decision that you select. It costs you prestige, and then you gain a whole sum of money. But as a downside of this compared to This Is My Domain, is it has lots of downsides connected to it. This one is mad strong that has no downside, and this one has downsides, but it is kind of cool as well. And finally, the trait you gain at the bottom is plus 15% holding taxes and 2% stewardship. Once again, a very shitty perk at the very end. I like this one a lot. This is one of my favorites, but it's funny, I never complete the focus tree. I never complete the lifestyle perk tree. I only get like into This Is My Domain, and then I jump ship. Oh my goodness, I so want to give this an S tier. I am giving this an S tier. Okay, next one is Architect. Tommy loves this one, and I feel like this one is mad overrated. So Taxman, collect tax 25%. You gain barely any taxes from this. 0.3 tax per month. As Frankia, it's not really that much. It really isn't. Cutting corners, 5% reduction in cost of constructing anything. 5% is just so not worth it. Building buildings 30% quicker. Development of capital. This one's actually pretty good. Development of capital plus 0.3 per month. If you were to rush this quite early, you could build your capital really tall. And having a really powerful central capital is a really good strategy. A really good tactic in CK3 where you develop your capital really high by stacking certain buildings. If you guys want me to make a video on that, let me know in the comments. Anyway, the next one is defensive measures on the other side. Plus 1 fort level for your entire nation. Oh, so bad. Garrison size plus 20%. So bad. Unlocks a purchase truce interaction, allowing truces to be bought prematurely. Basically a non-aggression pact, and you can pay for it. It's basically don't attack me interaction. That's basically what it is. Organized muster rolls plus levy reinforcement plus 100%. So useless. Some of the situations like whenever would you be low on levy reinforcement rates? When would you ever be low on that? You're losing? But you don't want to be losing. You don't want to be winning. So it's just an instance where you'd go for this just to recover from a defeat. That's the only time I could think of that. Popular figurehead plus 50%. Popular opinion. It feels like a lot plus 50%, but only thing this does is it makes the local peasants happy. So you're less likely to get those revolts. But those revolts are so easy. Put down those revolts for peasants is just so easy. So it's just pointless. It's just easy to fight them. Now this one's pretty good. Plus 2 domain size. The only downside with this is it's kind of so far down the focus path, but overall so deep in there. And then the final one is Architect. Architect gives you plus 2 stewardship, and it also makes buildings cost 10% less and build quicker. Ugh. These last two are pretty good, and centralization are pretty good, but all the rest are just poo. They're just so bad. I feel like if you come into this and you're role playing and you want to develop your nation, I feel like your heart's in the right place, but overall the bonuses are just not worth your time. I think for the most part, I think I'm going to give this one a C tier. It's not good enough to worth your time, but it's okay, I guess. All right, next up is Administrator. So Administrators is a bit of a weird one. It's a path where you gain most of your bonuses if you're a vassal of somebody else. So you have a liege above you. For the most part, really strong because you have the ability to exploit the game so heavily with it. So it lets you to claim the throne of your liege, which lets you do lots of gaming mechanics. Like, for instance, if you're a count at the bottom of the Holy Roman Empire, you can claim your liege above you, even if it's multiple tiers above you. But this is the only perk in this focus lifestyle tree that's actually kind of worth your time. Everything else is just so bad. Toad the line. Your vassals are less likely to join independence factions. I'll let you know, independence factions are actually the least likely factions to form. You're more likely to get factions, well, the most likely faction you can get is reduce your crown authority or try and push for a title, like for instance try and strip you of your kingdom or emperor title. So this one is so unbelievably useless. Honored to serve, powerful vassal, contribution tax plus 20%. Okay, that's actually pretty decent, but remember, you're so far down the focus tree here, the lifestyle focus tree. What's the point? Once again, I feel like sometimes if you've got bonuses that are near the top, you feel like you're going to go for them, but otherwise there's no much point. And finally, Administrator, which gives you plus 1 diplomacy, plus 3 stewardship, and plus 5 vassal opinion. Just don't do this path, guys. It is so unbelievably bad. The only time you want to go for this is you want meritocracy, but every other time it's just pointless. And here we are, boys. We're at the very end now. Oh boy, learning path. This is, I feel like, the spiciest path of them all, and it hates me to say this. These paths need to be completely nerfed to the ground because I think for the most part, 1 of 3 is just game breaking. Theologian. So this is the path where you want to form your own religion. I feel like that's the only reason you want to do that. So you gain extra relation for the clergy, convert quicker, gains you extra piety from knights, and also reduces the cost of creating a new faith or reformation. So this is the kind of the main perk of this path. And then we have relations with the clergy again. Realm Police plus 50. Now this is actually kind of good, this one, because the Realm Police usually gives you a lot of tax. Radiant gives extra devotion impact. I always forget what devotion even does. So devotion gives extra clergy opinion. The clergy basically love and adore you. Defender of the Faith reduces tyranny gain. Tyranny, once again. Same faith opinion plus 5%. I feel like every member of the clergy will love you. And then finally, Theologian, which gives you extra piety and extra +3 learning. The reason you'd only do this path, by the way, is 2 reasons. 1, get good relations with your Realm Police. Good way of making money. And then secondly, I suppose there's a third one as well. The third one is to kind of convert. If you're living, let's say you're living in a Muslim nation and you are the king of a Muslim nation, but everyone underneath you is Muslim. In that case, you would go for these ones. And this one, religious icon, which allow you to convert at lightning speed. But to be fair, the only perk that really matters in this path is profit, which allows you to create new faiths. For the most part, this path is actually kind of really rubbish. I'm going to give this a C tier. Anyway, next up is Scholar. Now, Scholar's quite good too, because you gain Scientific, which gives you extra 35% fascination process, which basically is 35% faster technology researching, which is mad strong. The only time you want to do this is if you're not the head of the culture, which in this case, what's the point? You got extra development efficiency, gaining extra learning from devotion, which is nice. Different faith opinion, basically be tolerant of other faiths. So if you basically got a lot of different faiths and ethnicities underneath you, you can gain better relations with this. But once again, who cares? These rebellions, peasant rebellions, are easy to put down anyway, so who cares? You also gain a few bonuses too for learning languages, as well as cultural acceptance gain, which I suppose can be useful if you want to convert faiths, but learning on the job. Now this one is really strong. If you want to form a meritocracy, basically, if you don't know what meritocracy is, where you have a nation that is based on skill than birthright, you could go for meritocracy and hire everyone in your council who is the best at their possible job, and then 20% of their stats are then given to you as the ruler. So that potentially means you can gain an unbelievably powerful character with amazing stats just by leeching 20% of the stats of each of your counselors. It basically makes you have a super character. It is mad, unbelievably strong. It's probably one of the strongest traits in the game. So you probably thought the family hierarchy one was good because you gain lots of free stat points for that, but this one guarantees you 20% of all the stats for all of your council members, which I just personally think is mad strong. And then we got sanctioned loopholes. It's another one that gives you the ability to spend piety for claims. I'm getting them all mixed up here. So Forge allows you to, it allows you to fabricate quicker. I'm getting it confused. But overall, then you've got Scholar, which gives you hostile scheme chance increase and personal scheme chance plus 10%, 5% learning. That's a lot of learning. An extra 15% extra development. There's a lot of development to be gained from this one. So for the most part, Scholar is really decent. Hold the body. We're saving the best till last, haven't we? So first of all, it lets you hire a court physician. Will have better treatment outcomes and make them cost less. Overall, I don't think this is a big deal. Most games I'm geared towards making lots of money, so I don't really care about that one that much. Okay, wash your hands. So this reduces the chance of contracting illnesses as well as your courtiers as well. You very rarely run into the issue with this one, but if you get gout, which is a pain in the ass, or if you get cancer, for instance, it can be quite painful. I'm not even sure if this reduces the chance of getting these because this is contracting illness. So I'm not even sure these are the kind of illness you would even get, but it's nice to have, I guess. Now, this is kind of interesting. Embracing celibacy. This is strong as hell. So if you have 2 kids and you're like, I'm done having kids now, unless you have an unfortunate situation where you lose one of them or 2 of them in a row and you have no heir, that can be a big problem. But overall, this basically guarantees your succession and not have to deal with partitions. In this case, embracing celibacy is mad strong. Stress reduction. If you're having a stress issue character, you basically just go down 2 traits and there you go. You fix most of your stress problems. 20% reduction in stress is mad. This one's kind of interesting too because these kind of pair together. So if you're having issues with like a reoccurring chain event of stress and you want to keep the stress levels down, you go for these 2 traits and it will keep your stress more under control. So you don't have to keep dealing with those reoccurring events of having mental breakdowns. Know yourself. Oh man, know yourself. Fucking hell. So this lets you plan your succession. So if you know you're going to die within a year, which I don't even know how that would even work. It feels like a supernatural event, even even though this game doesn't focus on supernatural, but it's there. It allows you to just plan your succession. So if you're in a situation where your realm's going to get splintered into 5 different pieces, you can start to disinherit, put people in prison, and kill off your children if you want to. And this allows you to plan for your own demise and your own succession for your sons or whatnot. So, man, this is so strong. So this one's probably the weakest of the lot, Iron Constitution. So if you're ever affected by an illness that reduces your fertility, this will boost it. Oh, it also reduces disease resistance as well. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just a fertility one. And you get a massive... So if you ever do get ill, you've got a massive boost to resist that specific illness. So you basically can have cancer your entire life and it won't even affect your ability. Anyway, healthy. It goes without saying. You just gain a flat, medium health boost. There's no way about it. Health boosts in CK3 are mad strong because it makes you live longer. I think on average, you're going to get about an extra 2 years of life for a small health boost. For a medium, you're going to get 5. And then for a large boost, you're going to get like maybe 5 to 10. So overall, any way of boosting your health to make your character live longer, therefore to secure your succession, to secure your realm and have a more stable realm overall is going to be mad strong for you. So I want to say mad strong a billion times because at the end of the day, whole of body gives you another medium health boost, extra fertility, which is okay, and also reduction of stress. Overall, with this path, you will never deal with illnesses. For the most part, they're gone. You're never going to deal with mental breakdowns. They're now gone. You're going to live at least 5 to 10 years longer due to these health boosts. And 2 and 3, you're also going to gain the ability to know when you're going to die so you can plan your succession. Whole of body is just unbelievably strong. Whole body is so broken. And I think the only way they could fix it is just to shimmy around and move around some of these perks. For instance, a no-brainer is to do these 3 to begin with. Like you can plan your succession, then plan when you're going to die. This one plans ahead of time. And then you become resistant to illness here. Then you become resistant to stress here. And this one lets you live a long time. Oh, God, they're all just so unbelievably strong. I don't even know how you would fix this. And I'm kind of... Part of me deep down in my heart just says, I don't even want to say how OP this is because Paradox might nerf it. But overall, that is my list, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see it? There you go. Whole of body. Oh, do you know, I actually don't want to make Torture S tier. I think I'm going to move that down to A tier. It is really good, Torturer, but I don't think it's worthy of S tier. Anyway, you guys disagree with me, agree with me, comment below. But apart from that, don't forget to like and subscribe. And this is the next video.
This is the next video. Give it a watch.
If you want more CK3, let me know.